Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. It is the Big Joe and Laura Show, welcoming you to Thursday, January 4th, 2024.
Woo woo!
Sounds like someone's got a good morning so far.
Oh my God, this is the best morning I've had since I had a son, because he finally slept through the night at least as much as I get to sleep through the night last night, which is incredible.
Well, I would like to take credit for that. I mean, I did have a talk with a young man yesterday.
Yeah, he did come in here to the studios. You can see photos up on the Big Joe and Laura and Mix 95.7 Instagram accounts. Go check out the story in our post. But I appreciate the talk you had with him, because he started to try to make a little noise at like 2, which he's been doing lately. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Like, it's a terrible time for him to wake up, because that means I get like an hour of sleep before I have to wake him back up to feed him before I go to work. But he made a little noise, and I kind of peeked at his bassinet, and his little eyes were closed. And I'm like, you know what? I think he's bluffing. I'm going to leave him alone. So I laid back down, and I kind of laid there for a little while, and he didn't really make any noise. I'm like, all right, I think he's going to sleep. And then next thing I knew, my alarm was going off, and he slept for like a solid 6 hours straight, which for a newborn baby, I know you don't really have a lot of experience with.
I don't like have the sleeping part. I have nieces and nephews.
It's life-changing to get 6 hours in a row. I don't think he's given me more than 3 the entire time he's been home. So it's like I only get 3 hours of sleep if he only sleeps, that kind of deal. And so it was just life-changing and amazing, and I feel like a whole new person just getting my normal crappy night of sleep.
I mean, I'm so afraid to have a kid as far as I just don't want to mess them up, and I'm sure everybody feels that way.
Sure.
But everybody probably wants to do better than their parents or grandparents did.
Yeah, it's always the goal.
Right. But then I hear things like you're talking about like no sleep, because you're trying, but there's some days where it's like, well, I guess I don't get to sleep today. I don't know if I can do that. Like if we had Lindsay on the phone right now, she would be like, all Joe does is sleep. I think he's part bear.
Well, it takes a team. It really does. Like my husband really does get a lot more sleep than me.
Yeah.
But he makes up for the things that I can't do because I'm doing other things. So if you guys work at it as a partnership and as a team, it is definitely doable. Like one of you will sleep a whole lot less than the other, but you can take turns and you can kind of work around stuff. Like he does a lot of the housework and that kind of stuff, and then I just kind of keep the baby alive. And so it works out. If I had to do all of the chores and everything on top of it, absolutely not. It would be a nightmare. So I'm very thankful that my husband pulls a lot of the weight around me to allow me to not sleep and function still.
All right. In case he's up with the baby right now, I'll just do a golf clap for James and all the people out there helping out the partners.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing what you do.
And a little tiny clap for Justin for sleeping through the night, because mom feels so much better.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that it's Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday. Woo-woo! We got a lot to look forward to. It's Mix 95.7. Good morning.
It's time for Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
Us Michiganders probably already knew this, Laura, but Michigan getting some love nationally. CNN released its list of best places to visit in 2024. And this is not only like in the U.S., but around the world.
Okay.
One of those places, Northwest Michigan. The reasons why they say people should go there is the Old Mission, Leelanau Peninsula, which I've been to there plenty of time for wine tasting, the M22 Highway, Sleeping Bear Dunes, National Lakeshore, and just so many more awesome places.
I haven't really been up there very much. Like I've gone to Traverse City and a little bit, but I've seen the M22, but I would love to go to Sleeping Bear this weekend and Leelanau Peninsula. Maybe CNN will inspire me to take some road trips with the little guy this summer.
I think you should definitely do it. Make it part of your Michigan bucket list.
There we go. Yesterday morning, you may have seen people lining up around the corner at Target as early as 3 a.m. to get their hands on an exclusive pink Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I don't understand the love for this. You have something similar to that, but lining up at 3 a.m. for this thing?
No, they had a red one and a pink one, and I saw the pictures of them, and I can't tell the difference between any of the other red or pink Stanley Cups. And I know that they're a collector's item. It's a whole thing. It's like Beanie Babies for millennial moms. I get it. I totally understand that's your thing, but it's wild how hard people are going for these. Just check out this audio.
You guys are limit 2. per guest.
I love it. 2, please, per person. That's it. 2 max.
Please stop.
How much were these things?
Okay, so they sell for about $50 at Target
What?
stores.
For a water bottle?
Okay, but here's the worst part. People that are buying these are putting them up on eBay and flipping them from like $140 to $220. So yeah, you spent $50, but you're about to triple that money just by putting it up on eBay, which shame on you. Let people just have their stupid cups.
Oh no, see, I'm all about people making money. That people be yelling at me in line. I'm like, oh, it's from my mom or from my wife.
Honestly, with all this hype, I feel like I'm dumb enough that I'm like, maybe I need a red Stanley Cup, even though I hate the Stanley Cup and I prefer my other versions of it that don't leak everywhere.
And your final need to know news story, Taylor Swift just broke Elvis Presley's record for the most time at Billboard's #1 spot. That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, she's had 13 different songs that have reached a grand total of 68 weeks on top. That's over a year.
Yeah, that's insane.
Laura, there's only one other person that's beating her now that she's ahead of Elvis. Get a guess who that might be?
The only artist I can think of that's bigger than Elvis would be like maybe the Beatles.
Yeah, actually, you're right. The Beatles had 132 weeks, which is just nuts at the #1 spot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were the most iconic band of all time. But I bet if you give Taylor Swift enough time, she'll get there.
That's your need to know news here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids' best mix. Mix 95.7, it is the Big Joe and Laura show, and I'm kind of worried that my nose might be broken or at least busted. Like, I don't think it's actually like somebody punched me in the face, that kind of busted, Laura, but my wife Lindsay and I are having some real, like, big issues in our house, like, in our bedroom.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm not a medical expert by any means. I did spend some time in a hospital about 2 months ago, but that was to have a baby. So, what's wrong with your nose?
Well, my nose apparently to Lindsay is annoying. Do you notice when we work together during the morning, we're here like 4 or 5 hours, do you ever notice me, like, do you notice me constantly sniffling?
I mean, yeah, but I don't really feel like that's that weird because it's A, cold in here all the time, and B, I have a sniffly nose a lot of the time, so I don't really think much of it.
Okay, because Lindsay has not slept in our bed, like with me,
Yeah.
in over 2 weeks.
Why?
Because, I mean, I'm not proud of this, but I'm just being honest. I put a bunch of weight on over the end of last year just because I'm an emotional eater and dealing with everything.
Yeah.
So more weight makes it harder to sleep. You know, you might snore.
Sure.
I think that's why. She's like, you're snoring so bad. And then when I'm sitting next to you and we're just hanging out after I get home from work, she said, I think it's like a reenactment, a little dramatic, but she's like, you're like, I'm like, no, I don't do that. But she says I'm always sniffling, and it's driving her crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not your nose being broken. That sounds like you might have allergies or something you might be allergic to. Like, that's not physically your nose.
Well, she's like, you have to have a sinus infection. Like, if I had a sinus infection, I've had one before. I've had an ear infection. Those are not fun to deal with.
No, not at all. I'm pretty frequent on those. I joke about it, but I'm allergic to the month of November generally.
Okay.
So like I get constantly, every year without fail, I get sick because it does that thing where it goes back and forth between being warm and cold and warm and
yeah.
cold. And my body does not deal well with that. And so I mean, I think you're more likely to maybe have some sort of allergy or something. I mean, I'm not to pry into your personal life.
Oh, poke and prod. Go ahead.
How frequently are you guys dusting?
Oh, I was kind of wondering, like, what would Laura? How frequently are you?
Are you,
No,
getting that duster
not
out?
enough. We have an old house. Like, this house that we have was built in 1900, and
Yeah.
we had duct cleaning, and that really did a thing. But our dogs are little fur balls all the time, so we run air purifiers. We do all these different things, like you're kind of suggesting. But I do notice those sometimes. But also, I think to myself, well, I did walk the dogs, and it was really cold out last night. That's
but that
probably gets your nose. Doesn't that get your nose running?
Only temporarily while you're cold. It shouldn't last past that.
Because Lindsay, this is, I guess, the whole reason I brought this up. You don't have to be an expert. Maybe it's just your experience, or maybe you're in a field where you would know more than Laura and I.
Yeah.
600-0957. Real easy to call in. 600-0957. Is something wrong with my nose if it's constantly sniffly and I'm snoring again? I think it's just the weight and everything, but I want my wife to sleep next to me, and I don't blame her either. I kind of feel bad, like I should go sleep in the other room.
Oh, trust me, when I was pregnant and had gained a lot of weight, my husband was like, I'm going to throw you out of the room soon because I was snoring so loud. So I fully understand that could be a deal breaker when it comes to sleeping together. But I think, A, go to a doctor, get an allergy test. I think that there's a chance you're allergic to something. Maybe it's in your house. You could have mold in your house. You could have dust. You could have any sort of allergens that could be affecting you.
Okay.
And then assess from there. Because, like I said, I don't think your nose is physically broken. And I don't think weight makes you have a runny nose, because I have a runny nose, and I don't think weight's a lot of my problem.
Well, I think the weight's making me snore, but I don't know. She thinks that my nose has got something going on, like congestion inside of it. But do I sound congested? I don't feel like I do.
I don't think you do. So I don't know. Doctors, are you out there? 600-0957. Let us know. Is Big Joe's nose broken?
It's time for Big Joe and Laura's Need to Know News on Mix 95.7.
When I first saw this, I said, no, you can't close this down, but it's not forever.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the Grand Rapids Public Museum announced that its beloved 1928 Spillman Carousel will close for about a year because of that expansion project we told you about before that they're going to be doing for the museum.
Oh, yeah, so I guess they have to close it in order to make room around it.
Yeah, now if you want to ride it before it's shut down for a year, you got until January 9th, so I guess I would go this week or weekend, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
That entire pavilion where the carousel and everything is getting like a big facelift. It's going to go on through the rest of this year, and they say it's going to create more outdoor area space along the museum and the Grand River, which that's cool. It's such a beautiful view over there already.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be totally worth the not being on the carousel for a year, and by the time they reopen it, Justin will be big enough to ride it, so honestly, kind of excited. So we just got through the holidays, so it kind of feels weird to talk about another holiday, but Valentine's Day is technically around the corner.
Oh, you're right.
You know those little conversation hearts, the sweetheart hearts?
Yeah, they taste like chalk. I never understood people that like those.
Well, yeah, I don't think anyone really does, but they're trying to get people to buy them, so they have a new gimmick this year. They're doing what they're calling situationship hearts.
Okay.
So starting next week, they're going to sell these things. They look like they're normal hearts, but the difference is the words are blurry and hard to read, kind of like being in a situationship would be.
Oh, I thought you meant like maybe like, hey, I hit on somebody when I was drunk and it was hard to see. I had beer goggles.
I mean, it's going to kind of look like that, but I have a feeling that this is just them trying to repurpose the ones that were badly printed. And they're like, oh, what can we do with all the junk chalk hearts? Oh, let's call them situationship hearts. Throw them in a box and see if anybody will buy them.
I got to be honest, if that company closed down and we never had those again, I'd be okay with that.
I think most people would.
And your final need to know news story, I don't know if you watch Wheel of Fortune. Usually in our house, it's Wheel of Fortune, then Jeopardy will come on, and that's usually what we'll watch.
Yeah.
This lady had the entire puzzle in front of her. All she had to do was read it, and she did, but she mispronounced a word and lost to the next player.
Shauna, would you read what's up there, please?
Conjugal company and clever conversation.
No. Steve.
Congenial company and clever conversation.
Yeah, we need to kind of have a coined word there you had. I'm sorry.
Oh, come on. You should just give it to her at that point. She has the puzzle solved.
I know, that's the worst, because you'll always relive that moment and you'll never forget how to say that.
This is exactly how I would lose Wheel of Fortune.
That's your Need to Know news on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids' Best Mix. It is the Big Joe and Laura show here on Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids' Best Mix. And I don't care how much money you have, this situation right here would just devastate me, and I would do whatever it takes to get it back. There is a couple in Pittsburgh who freaked out, rightfully so, after their dog, who apparently normally doesn't eat things, they said in this story.
Generally a good boy.
The dog ate $4,000 in cash. Why did they have that just sitting around? Well, they went to the bank to go get money for a fence they got put up for that dog, and the people wanted to be paid in cash for that new fence. And, well, by the time they noticed it, they're like, oh, no. So they had to track the dog around their yard that was newly fenced in for several days. They were able to scrounge and collect back almost $3,500 out of the $4,000. Did you hear what I said?
So how'd they collect it, Joe? They collect it, Joe?
They had to sift through the dog doo-doo to get their money back and then piece it back together.
No!
But it's $4,000, Laura. Who do you know? Majority of people, who do you know in your life where like, oh man, I can just replace $4,000? You can't. That's a lot of money.
No, I'm going to be really honest. Okay. Oh, it'd be really hard to walk away from it. I don't know if I have the fortitude to just to chase a dog around and dig through its crap that many times. I don't know if I can do it.
You're saying you wouldn't?
I don't know if I would or not. I mean, A, is the money actually spendable? Like, did the dog shred it? Because not only are you gonna clean through dog doo-doo, you also have to like put all the money back together.
Well, that's the thing.
It couldn't have eaten whole bills, right?
No, it's not like it just had to get crinkled up. It definitely like tore it and shredded it up. I think about that. Not that I want to, but you bring up a good point. Are they actually just, there's a pile of it? Okay, get a bucket of water. How are they? Oh, even with gloves, this is so disgusting, but you'd have to do it. If Benny and Patty did this, I think about Tulip. You and James would have to get all the money, right?
I mean, I cannot afford to lose $4,000. That is a fact.
Yeah.
However, I don't know, again, that I could do this. I don't, like, when I sell my car or something instead, I don't know. Okay, so what is the most you would walk away from? Let's look at it this way. Obviously, we would not walk away from $4,000. What is the most amount of money you would allow Benny and Paddington to eat before you would start to actually go get it?
I would be devastated if I had like $100 bill. But if they ate $100 worth of like 520s, I would be very upset. But I would let that go. But if it's any more than that, the currency value of $100, we're digging for days.
Oh, no, absolutely not. That's not even a whole grocery bill. No. It's like $1,000 I'm willing to walk away from. Can I afford to? No, not in no way.
You're going to let Tulip, your dog.
I would let her eat up to $1,000 before I'm sifting through Tulip poop. Because let me tell you, Tulip is if you haven't seen a picture of my dog, Tulip, go check it out on social media. You can find the Big Joe and Laura page. I'm sure she's on there somewhere. Or go find my page, Laura Hardy Radio. She's a big girl. She poops human-sized poops. So if you want me to sift through human-sized poops, a grand minimum. A grand minimum before I'm putting my hands in that. I don't care. I'll sell things. I have a PS5. That's got to be worth like $500. No way am I doing that.
Oh no, man! I would be in there for anything. Like I said, over $100. What about you? First, two things here. Did you ever have to look for something in your dog's poop? Maybe it wasn't the money. We'd love to know for that. But also, as Laura brought up, what's your money threshold that you would dig through the doo doo to
How
get?
much money would it take for you to walk away? 616-600-0957. Again, that's 616-600-0957, or shoot us a DM right now on the Mix 95.7 app.
Mix 95.7, Grand Rapids Best Mix. Laura Can't Lose happening today with a return player. Alex and Jennison tied you yesterday, Laura, 4-4.
Yeah, how are you doing this morning, Alex?
Feeling confident today, Laura.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know. I really slipped up yesterday, so my odds are not great.
All right, Alex, why don't you tell Laura to get on out of here so we can play the game?
Get out of here, Laura.
All right, I'll leave. I can tell where I'm not wanted.
Alex and Jennison, you're going to get 1 minute to answer 5 questions. You can pass if you don't know the answer. We'll come back if time allows. A tie goes to Laura because Laura can't lose, but you can take her on again the next day. Question number 1. North, Saint, Chicago, and Palms are kids to what famous Kardashian?
Kim Kardashian.
Question 2. What is the name of Batman's butler?
Pass.
Question 3. What kind of pants did MC Hammer wear?
Hammer pants.
Question 4. Who created the popular game show Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy?
Pass, Ajax.
Question 5. What is the name of the reality TV show that Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie starred in?
I don't know.
Okay, going back to question 2. What is the name of Batman's butler?
Jeeves.
Laura! Come on in.
Let's do this.
All right. Well, Laura, today we heard from Alex Jennison saying that she was confident.
Okay.
And you know what? Maybe you'll be confident yourself. If you can get 2 right, you tie. 3, you win.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That makes me think these questions are hard, not fair.
We'll see if our boss JB agrees later. All right. Question number 1, Laura. North, Saint, Chicago, and Palms are kids to what famous Kardashian?
That would be Kim.
That is correct. 1-1. Question number 2. What is the name of Batman's butler?
Alfred.
That is correct. 2-1. You got that one right.
Ooh.
We had Alex say Jeeves.
Oh.
Go ask Jeeves.
Yeah, like the old internet browser thing.
Question number 3. What kind of pants did MC Hammer wear?
Hammer pants.
Parachute
They're
pants.
parachute pants, that's right.
Okay, we have got a 2-2 game. I did not see this coming.
Oh,
Actually,
no.
yeah, because she got that correct. Question number 4. Who created the popular game show Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy?
Is it Merv Griffin?
That is correct. They always say it at the end, like a Merv Griffin production.
Yeah, I don't know why I know that. I guess probably because I've heard it so many times.
right now that means that we have a 3-2 game, Laura. You have the lead. Let's see how you do on question number 5.
Okay.
What was the name of the reality TV show that Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie starred in?
Oh my God, I remember. It doesn't matter, I guess. Wasn't it the Sweet Life?
That is incorrect. You might be thinking of like what, Zach and Cody?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of. What was it called?
The Simple Life.
The Simple Life. Ah,
Okay.
Boo. I mean, I guess it didn't matter. I'm sorry, Alex.
Somehow, some way, Laura got the win today. Alex, 3-2.
It's all good, Laura. Those are hard questions.
Mix 95.7. We are the Big Joe and Laura show. You can be part of the conversation anytime. Make sure you save our phone number in your phone or, of course, the Mix 95.7 app. It's 616-600-0957.
She wants to know, is it shady that my husband doesn't want to share his location? She wrote in and said, my husband had an Android phone forever and finally got an iPhone over the holidays. I asked him to turn on and share his location with me, and he said he didn't want to. He says he feels like it's intrusive and he likes his privacy. He's never done anything to betray my trust, but it feels like a red flag that he doesn't want me to know where he is. Do other couples share their location with each other, or am I weird for asking this of him? Now, of course, again, we want to hear from you. 616-600-0957. Big Joe, is it okay to share your location?
Yeah, I mean, Lindsay has an actual Android. I've always had an iPhone for like the longest time. I share my location, I think, with just my buddy, like 1 or 2 people I know. My buddy Adam, and I think maybe Kevin.
Okay.
That's it. But that's we just dumb dudes being dudes or whatever. But
Sure.
I would have no problem if Lindsay wanted my location. But at the same time, I'm like, why do you need my location on? I want to know, why is it such a big deal? This wasn't even a thing until recent years, on phones. Like back in the day, you just, James, your husband James will be home soon.
Yeah, I mean, I get why. I mean, I guess you get to be the lucky one, air quotes, that your wife Lindsay doesn't have an iPhone, so you don't have to deal with this.
I'm very lucky with that part.
But my husband and I totally have each other's locations. And, it started before he worked in Kalamazoo. But now that he works in Kalamazoo, I just use it to see what part of 131 he's driving up. And I'm like, oh, he's in Martin. So he's about halfway home.
You've kind of shared some of this on air. So I don't think I'm airing out all your dirty laundry. But
No.
You've had some questionable dudes in your past that didn't treat you the way you deserve to be treated.
Yes.
Does that have any bearing on it? Or is this purely just to know where your husband's at?
I mean, I think that there is some amount of it's him being transparent because he's
Yeah.
like, I have nothing to hide. So therefore, I don't mind you having my location, especially if that makes you feel comfortable in any way. So yeah, I think there is some of that to it. But at this point in our relationship, especially because we're married, we have a kid, we're pretty stable and happy and everything's pretty good. I don't think I would use it for that. I don't spy on him to be like, are you really at work? It's usually like, have you left work yet? Because I'm hungry and I don't know if I should make a snack yet. And that's the only way I'm using it. And our old executive producer and our promotions person, Leisha B, she and I have each other's locations. I have hers because she went on a date with somebody or something one time, and she was like, I just want to make sure someone here in Grand Rapids knows where I am because all my other people are in Maryland.
I love that you two, I remember we talked about this before on the show. I love that you two share locations, but you don't share your location with me.
No, I don't need you to know how far behind I'm running on things because I'll be real honest. I feel like you'd be like, you said you left 5 minutes ago and you definitely did not. So
I actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'd have that same fear as well. What do you think about this? He doesn't want to share the location on his phone. She's kind of concerned about that. Call and be part of the show right now. 616-600-0957. Mix 95.7. We are the Big Joe and Laura show. And this is such an interesting thing I think a lot of people don't even think about, and that's when you get a new piece of technology and how you can share your locations with people.
Absolutely. And so we want to hear from you about that. What do you think? Is it okay to share your location with your spouse, or is it okay to be private? Because honestly, if you're not doing anything shady, you shouldn't have to share your location, right?
Yeah, 616-600-0957.
All right, we've got Jeff in Grand Rapids on the line. Jeff, what do you think about this location sharing?
I feel like she's looking for a fight where there isn't one. It wasn't a problem when he had an Android phone, right? So why is it a problem now?
You have a valid point. It's like you've lived this long without it. Why do you need it now? But I don't know. My husband and I share locations, not to stalk on each other, but he works in Kalamazoo, so it gives me some sort of peace of mind to know how far away he is when he's on the way home.
I mean, I understand that. That makes sense, right? But
Yeah.
and that's a detail that wasn't shared, right? So if there's some sort of issue where he's on long distance driving or whatever, I would get it. But I just feel like she's picking a fight where there doesn't need to be one. If he just works in town, I don't know.
So you don't think there's anything like it doesn't feel shady that she's like, nah, you can't. He's rather like, nah, you can't have that.
I mean, if you look at it that way, yeah, it does feel a little shady, but it doesn't need to be like there. That's like a projection. It's her insecurities being projected. And she even said in the text, like, he's never done anything to make me think that he's cheating or doing something wrong or whatever.
I just think we have to get out of our own head. We always run our own head thinking up scenarios that don't even exist.
Listen, I've thought some of those scenarios up and then they did exist. So I understand the anxiety.
Well, and maybe there's a history there, right? Where where there's some sort of history with her that somebody did some things and then he needs to be empathetic to that, right? But I think overall, I mean, just based on the information that we had in the post on Facebook, I just was like, I feel like she's looking for a fight where there isn't one. But like I said, if there's something in her past, he needs to get on board and be empathetic.
That's a great point. Hey, Jeff, thank you so much for your call. Mix 95.7 is Grand Rapids' best mix. It's the Big Joe and Laura show, and thank you so much for being part of it. Anytime you call in at 616-600-0957. This woman messaged in and was talking about how her husband got a new iPhone, used to have an Android.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I have an iPhone, now we can share locations. But he's like, I don't want to do that. I want my privacy.
And she's like, is this a red flag or is my husband just kind of a private person? Should I worry about this? And of course, we always want to hear from you again. 616-600-0957. Lacey and Morley, what do you think? Is it shady that he's not sharing his location?
Honestly, my husband and I both have Androids, and we have Life 360 on our phones, which basically tells us it's basically the same thing as the shared location with the iPhone, except for mine will also tell me if he's been in an accident. Same goes for him. Like, you tell if I've been in an accident.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And it's awesome. And that's just for the free version. But we look at it as I'm everywhere with the kids all the time. And it's a sense of security for him that if something was to happen, he can see where I'm at, or at least where my phone is.
Thanks, Lacey. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Nadia, where are you calling us from? Like, where do you live?
I live in Grand Rapids, and I'm actually driving downtown to work at Grand Rapids Civic Theater right now.
Oh, awesome. We love that. Now, Nadia, where do you fall on this one? What do you think about this location sharing?
Okay, so here's the deal. Location sharing is still kind of new in terms of an idea to me, but here's what I'm thinking about. So my husband and I have an amazing relationship. We've been together for almost 17 years, and actually maybe over 17 years. But I would think that this would be something that he would be like, ew, no, why? And it has nothing to do with trust in me or our relationship. I think it would be more likely an issue for him just because he's one of those people that is like, oh, why does the universe have so much access in terms of our privacy when it comes to technology? And so I think that that's where his brain would go first. So it's nothing about person-to-person relationships or trust, and it's about just how very personal that technology has gotten. And so I could see it being more about, is this tracking me in other ways versus is my person tracking me?
You sound like a dream guy's answer right there. I love your answer.
I would say, well, like, honestly, like, my dad was that way. Like, my dad never wanted an Alexa in the house. He did not have Facebook, none of that stuff. So, like, I totally understand and respect I don't want to be tracked. I don't want to be on the grid. Just leave me alone. As long as that's the kind of personality they are across the board. Like, that's consistent, you know?
Agreed. Like, if you're in a trusting relationship and everything, I mean, maybe give it a whirl. Maybe, see if it's like when you would want to check in on their location, just straight up ask and see what that's like if you do that on the regular. And then if they're like, oh, that's the only reason why, like you're saying, Laura, like, I just want to know if I need to make a snack or, like, are you coming home to feed me?
Yeah,
like, what's the deal?
Exactly. That's the only thing I use it for. Thank you, Nadia. You're the best. Have a great rest of your day.
You too, and welcome back. We missed you.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be back. I missed y'all too, and we're going to have a great 2024.
Indeed. Take care, y'all.
You too. Bye.